Welcome to the Gab Talks. I'm your hostess, Gabby Olzak. Today, joining me at BookCAMP 2025 is Hollywood actress Kate Orsini. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. This has been amazing.
Well, we're so excited that you're here. So you have been speaking with our BookCAMP authors about taking their books, that navigating the path to the screen.
Exactly right.
Before we get to that, I want to learn a little bit more about you. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you became an actress.
I think I just always needed to do it. There was nothing else that I wanted to do. I don't know if you remember, there was a series in the, 80s, I guess, called Alice.
Yeah.
Linda Lavin, God rest her soul.
Love that show.
I was obsessed with it. And I was like little. And I would literally serve my parents dinner on TV trays in the living room, but, and put flowers. And I really thought we were at Mel's Diner, and then I would switch parts. And then I would be all the different waitresses. I would also be Mel himself. And so I told my mother I wanted to be a waitress. And she was like, but when she realized I was switching parts, she goes, "Oh, you don't want to be a waitress. You want to be an actress. That's so much better." And I was like, little did I know that most actresses at some point in their careers are, in fact, waitresses.
Yes, most are. Definitely.
I did not have to do that, thank God. But yeah.
What was the most pivotal points in your career where you thought, wow, I made it and this is what I'm meant to do?
Interestingly enough, it wasn't as an actor. It was as a performer of, as an actor, but as a performer of my own material and a producer of my own material. But also when I started getting phone calls to adapt books to screen based on my first effort at it, that was a pivotal point, because as an actor, it's so much about superficial garbage, and often your brain doesn't get the attention it deserves. Sometimes it almost feels like a detriment, especially when you're very young in that town.
Yeah.
And so it's been really good as I've gotten older to be sort of looked at as someone who's intelligent and leading with that. That's a way more important and way more rewarding type of life.
So tell us
and
about
it's timeless. Yeah. I about 3 years ago, I was at a conference much like this, the IBPA, and I was part of a panel that had a book agent, a co-agent, a VP of content from Nickelodeon, and I was the adapter. And I realized in that panel that so many people, so many authors had been sort of shut out of the adaptation process. They didn't know what happened to their books if they got adapted. They didn't know how to stay involved, and they certainly didn't know how to do it themselves. And so I launched a company called Material Girl, because not everybody, I'm younger than Madonna. But I think DIY is where it's at right now.
Yeah.
I think it's the next wave. And so I thought, if you want your script adapted and you cannot pay a screenwriter, if you can't afford me, and nor should any normal non-corporate person be able to, then let me help you do it yourself.
So let me ask you, I think many people have these ideas of grandeur that, my book can go to Netflix, my book can go to the big screen.
Yeah.
What are the books that are set apart, and what makes a book stand out that would make it a candidate for a book to screen scenario?
Well, for me, it's more about character than about genre.
Okay.
I mean, listen, horror is the horror model is very, very easy.
Yeah.
It's easy to do cheaply. It's a quick turnaround, and that genre almost always makes its money back.
Yeah.
It's not going to be where I live, because I'm very much into female-driven, either dark comedies or psycho thrillers. I am also very into the idea of women who are not 30. And this year at the Emmys, they called a certain, right?
Yes.
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 And at the Emmys this year, it was like and at the Oscars, both were about, women over 40 and that
So refreshing.
having these moments. And that's the wheelhouse I like to be in. And so now I think we can actually get behind that model.
So
The
character
facts,
development.
Character driven.
Yeah.
To me, character trumps action.
Well, that's what makes it interesting.
Yeah,
If you
exactly.
can't latch onto a character or find a character.
Exactly. Then I don't care if we have a drone that he
Right.
shot or if we have a.
Absolutely. When I'm watching a show, a movie, I can't really hook in unless there's a character I like.
Yes. Or even
that's
hate.
interesting.
Yes. Even
something
if
that's
I just love to
interesting.
hate them, I'm like, okay, now what are they going to do? Then I'm into it. But it doesn't matter what period it is to me. It doesn't matter, if we're in the future or not. It doesn't matter if we're on a spaceship or a plane
So what's your life mantra, and what advice can you offer for aspiring authors or writers?
Well, my life mantra right now is MEO, which is being the CEO of your own life. that's the whole thing. I think it's go to material that lights your brain up and lights your soul up. Whether I'm taking apart, whether I'm choosing a script to adapt, whether I'm deciding if maybe I want to produce a movie or create one, it's that. My other mantra is one for the heart, one for the rent, which is a very Hollywood and probably indie publishing thing too. You can have your babies that you just love and you just are obsessed with, but then sometimes you have to do one
that you don't like so much to
that maybe you like less or you don't but just to be practical about it. Yeah,
that's great advice. Kate, thanks so much for
Thank you
with us.
I'm
so how do folks find out more about you and your company?
You go to, first of all, you can look up materialgirl.com. You can go to kateorsini.com and there's a Material Girl thing right there, and then you can write HKO writer at gmail.com.
Fantastic.
Any of those things.
Thanks, Josh. Kate.
Yes, absolutely.
Have a great day, and thank you.